Big up gods and goddesses. This is Indigo Nara. Peace and love and blessings. It's been a while. Just took a little break. But I just wanted to share something with you guys. Now that we're in the information knowledge and in the, what do you call it? The information age. Knowledge is the easiest thing to access, and spirituality has actually now become so popular. It's become this trend. Being aware and being woke, is looking good. And while we transcend through this era and this age and this basically this path of going towards the golden age, if you want to call it, you have to be careful because as I said in my previous video, we're going through a spiritual war, and what you have to understand about war is that the enemy does not always come to you as the enemy. They may come to you as your family, as your friend, someone who you can resonate with, someone who you can relate to, someone who you may have a lot in common with. And just example, prime example is with Lucifer, Satan, Zeus, whoever you want to call him. He would have been one of the enlightened beings. He would have been one who was basically operating in his higher consciousness. He would have had certain knowledge, God knowledge and, power. And basically he used this power and this knowledge and this awareness and this state of enlightenment as a means of manipulating and controlling the masses. And this is something that, we have to learn to detect and understand that every spiritual leader and every spiritual influencer or even spiritual guru, their intent is not always the right intent. And there are certain tendencies that you can look for in these persons. You find that they oftentimes have like this narcissistic approach, this narcissistic behavior tendencies. And I call it the God complex. The God complex. And what I mean by the God complex is that we're all creators. We're all made in the image of the supreme, the higher, what do you call it? The Most High. We're all made in that image. We all have God within us. We're all capable of reaching that God state, right? But you have some teachers and some influencers who have a complex, meaning that they feel as if the knowledge and the experience that they have is the absolute, and they reach this point in awareness and in their consciousness where they feel as if they're superior, and they feel as if they're no longer satisfied with being a creator and being among other creators. They're now looking for that more. They're now looking for others to basically worship them and, to see their powers and to see their knowledge and experience as the one. That's the God complex. So yeah, basically you have to be aware of what's happening, and you have to be aware of the time that we're in, and the people that that you're gonna come across, you know, to kind of distract you from your truth. And what you have to understand is the truth is the truth, yeah, but your truth may not be my truth. Your reality may not be my reality, you know. It's just like a tree. You have the roots, you have the trunk, and then you have the branches. So basically our experiences are what contributes to the universal mind, the universal source, which is the trunk and the roots. The branches are all our experiences put together, all our realities, all our truths put together that make up this universal mind and this universal consciousness. So at the end of the day, you know, when these leaders, some of these leaders express themselves in a way that their knowledge is the absolute. There's no absolute when it comes to spirituality. Spirituality is infinite. It's continuous. And it's this is knowledge that is never ending. You know, it's just like when they make mention of the rabbit hole. You will never get to the end of it. It's infinite. It's something that continues and goes on. It's a cycle, continuous, never ends. And that's what you have to understand with spirituality. No matter how much knowledge you feel like you've had, or how much experience, there's always something else that, you know, that's out there that you can learn. And yeah, but there are just certain tendencies that you can look for in, you know, these people that may come to you in a way to deceive you. You find that they're very possessive when it comes to their knowledge, you know, extremely possessive. And it's as if they begin to basically worship this knowledge that they have, and they want others to start worshiping them for this knowledge. And that's one tendency. Another tendency is that, you know, continuously talking about their accomplishments. One thing with spirituality is that you know, when you're genuinely spiritual, you have that genuine love, compassion, and a sense of humility. And when you find that someone is constantly talking about their accomplishments, you know, it's like they want you to, it's like they're trying to prove something. With spirituality, you don't have to prove anything. You know what's inside you. You know you. You don't need to constantly be telling someone that, oh, I'm woke, and, you know, I've accomplished this, I have this knowledge, this is my experience. No. This is something that you emit. You don't need to constantly be proving, you know, this point. Another tendency is that they tend to be judgmental, very judgmental, you know, not remembering that, you know, where they're coming from. Spirituality is not something that happens overnight. And yeah, knowledge is important, but at the end of the day, it's the experience. Spirituality is an experience. Knowledge comes once you start experiencing it. The knowledge comes, the knowledge just, you just find that you just start gaining the knowledge. So if you don't have that experience or that trigger, no matter how much knowledge you have, you know, you're not fully enlightened. You're not at that highest state of awareness until you start experiencing certain things. Because as I said, once you experience, the knowledge that you have within starts to come to the surface. So nobody can really teach you spirituality. I mean, they can open your eyes, but no one can teach it. It's all about your experience. Another tendency is that, you know, these people can be very dominating when it comes to even just conversations. You know, their point again is the absolute, their opinion. You know, they become very controlling in certain conversations. And what it is that, you know, even though they may be enlightened and aware, they still have that ego. But the ego is basically masking itself in that spiritual knowledge that they have gained, or in that awareness that they have gained. And you know, you just have to be aware of the time that we're in. Again, we're in a spiritual war. The enemy will not come as an enemy all the time. They're gonna come as someone who we can resonate with, someone who we probably look at as having a lot in common with, you know, someone who looks like us. So it's just a matter of being, you know, being on guard when it comes to letting certain people in your space. And the knowledge again can be very overwhelming in this time. So, you know, sometimes it's best to kind of fast, you know, fast from social media. Take a break, you know, from social media, from this whole way of gaining knowledge, and just take time for yourself to look into yourself. Because as I said, sometimes it becomes so overwhelming, and when it reaches that point where it's overwhelming you, sometimes you're unable to decipher, you know, genuine from not genuine, you know. So it's just this is just a message just to be aware, you know, to keep your eyes open in this period of enlightenment that we're going through. Again, big up and blessings, peace and love. Indigo Nara.